Hey guys, Cam here, just tooling around. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to change it up a little bit. Rather than working on our OBS project, we're going to work on my 1960s Massey Ferguson 135. So I picked this tractor up a couple years ago when we bought the piece of land that we built our house on. And I've used it quite a bit, clearing land, leveling the driveway out, things like that. And it's worked pretty well for me. But here over the past few months, I've started having issues with run it for 30, 35 minutes or so, and it'll act like it's got no fuel. Tank will be full, but it'll take a little while. The gas tank itself on the inside is pretty dirty, so I want to get it out, clean it out. The sediment bowl up under the tank is filled with trash and just needs to come off. And I couldn't tell you the last time that's had a tune-up. The guy I bought it from a farm auction years ago, and it pretty well sat up for 4 or 5 years. Didn't get used a whole lot, so no telling when the last time it's had a tune-up. And my hands are pretty big. And for anybody who's tried to change the spark plugs on one of these 3-cylinder Perkins gas engines, there's not a lot of room up under there. I figured if a gas tank. So on these old Masseys, the bracket for the hood hinge actually holds the back of the fuel tank off. So go ahead and break that loose, pop it off. Actually 2 bolts here at the back to hold the hood hinge on and hold the back of the tank on, and then 2 at the front with like a little spring nut type setup to, I guess, give it some kind of cushion as it's bouncing around so that the gas tank isn't rigidly mounted. Read a couple places online that if you take the ones out of the back, you drain the fuel out of the tank and just loosen the fronts up, sometimes you can get it to slide off of it because the holes are slotted on the front of the tank. But looking up under it a while ago, I don't know if that's going to be possible. We'll try it and see. But got these off. Pull the hinge bracket off and tuck it up out of the way. Just ease the hood back just a little bit, like that. I already drained the tank earlier. It's empty. I went ahead and just popped the line off of the carb and drained it down into a gas tank. So get up under it and take those bolts at the front loose. So I don't know how easy you can see that, but right here are the bolts back up in there by the water pump neck that we have to take off. So don't know if I'll be able to show it too well on the camera, but I'll set it down and try to pop these off. All right, so I started with the work side first. Oop. Throw the ratchet in the dirt. Yeah, the other side seems to be a whole lot easier to reach. This side right here, you've got to do some acrobatics to get your arms back in there to it. There we go. And like I said, we're going to try it without completely taking the nuts off. Just loosen up enough that the front of the tank will slide back. They say if you pick it on the back of the tank and shift it backwards, it should allow the tank to come off of those bolts. So we're going to try that. All right, we're going to change it up now. We're going to try it with a ratchet and wrench instead of a ratchet. I didn't realize that there was a ledge down below it. Once you get that bolt loosened off enough, you ain't getting the socket back out or the ratchet off of it. So we'll try it like this now. There we go. Pretty loose right there. All right, we ought to be able to slip it off like that. I would hope at this point. Let's see. Big issue. Let's pop that out of here real quick. So see, a whole lot easier now to try and reach all the spark plugs there. You can see below it, there's this heat shield here that pretty well blocks you from coming in from the side, and it's I've tried and cut up my hands pretty good. It's not fun trying to reach them, so we'll try it from the top here. And actually, now that I got it off, it probably need to go ahead and source some spark plug wires for it as well. Just go ahead and do it all at one time while we got everything apart. Probably wouldn't be a bad time to clean it all off and do everything that we want to do while we got it torn apart. But there's the bolts that I was talking about that are slotted and just kind of captured in the tank right there. Sit on some little rubber isolators. Just try to isolate that metal tank from the frame of the tractor while it's moving. And the same thing back here, some rubber isolating feet on the rear mount. And then let's see here. Taking a look at our tank. There's a sediment bowl, not in the best shape. We'll probably take that thing off of there and go ahead and order us a new one of them. May look at ordering a new tank as well while we're at it. See what they got online for that. But go ahead and pop these spark plug wires off and go ahead and take some plugs out and see what they look like. All right, pop the first plug wire off. We'll do these one at a time. Pull these out. Hope that the plugs we bought from the parts store are the correct ones. Cross-referencing older set of plugs, and oh boy, yeah, that looks absolutely horrible. Honestly, I don't know if you can see that. I'm honestly surprised it was running as well as it was. That looks terrible. There's also quite a bit of junk built up right here around each of these plugs. Before I take another one out, I'll probably stick this one back in and take some compressed air and blow the top of this head off and clean it out. Let me just fill that hole for right now. I'll either grab the compressed air or I'll go grab my leaf blower and just kind of blow this area out real quick. I don't want all that getting down in the motor. Tighten that up a little bit. All right. Hopefully that'll keep some of that trash from making it down in our motor. I'll pull that plug back out and we'll compare it to what we bought, what we were given at the parts store. All right. So what's in it currently were AC Delco R45s, and according to everything I looked up online with tractor data and everything like that, it referenced an Autolite plug, and what we got was an Autolite 386. It's supposed to be the same thing, but looking at it right now, they are nowhere close. So looks like I'll be making a trip back to the parts store. I'll go grab some new ones, and I'll catch y'all guys in a little bit. Back at it again tonight. Before we get started on the spark plugs, I wanted to give a quick update. So the other night, after I pulled the gas tank out, and when I didn't have the right spark plugs, I figured I'd just go ahead and take the bowl off the bottom of the tank and clean that out. And as I did, see that blue plastic right there? It was actually wedged in the inlet of the little sediment bowl coming off the bottom of the tank. So pretty sure that's where my fuel flow problem was coming from. It actually wasn't letting a whole lot pass through there. So got that dug out, cleaned it out, and I get that put back on the tank here in a little bit. But for right now, let's go ahead and get these spark plugs in. All right, so I believe we finally have the right spark plugs. Ended up going to the parts store 2 different times to try to find these. Last time, finally, I think I got it right. Actually, was smart, pulled one out and carried it with me. But the ones that were originally in there were AC Delco R45s. Found a NGK plug that crossed with it. Everything seems to match up, so we'll go ahead and put them in there. there's actually got quite a bit of oil on it, so probably got some other issues going on there. But that plug, y'all see that? That plug looks pretty awful. Go ahead and replace it. Actually fairly loose. Really have to put much on that one. Ooh wee! Goodness gracious. That one also looks rough. Like I said, this tractor came from a farm auction originally. Sold it to a guy I worked with. He kept it for 3 or 4 years. Never really used it much. So there's no telling how long it's been since a basic tune-up or any kind of maintenance has been done on the thing. But we'll hopefully it'll run like a new tractor after this. Surprisingly, with plugs that look like that, it didn't run bad to begin with. Alright, we got the plugs on, so grab the gas tank now, put the sediment bowl back on the bottom of it, and get it back on the tractor. Happy Sunday, guys. Just got home from church, had a little bit of lunch, and we're back on the Massey 135. Yesterday, went ahead and put the tank back in her, put the battery back in through the sediment bowl on the bottom of the tank, and cleaned up a little bit of wiring, just some miscellaneous things like that. Didn't get any of it on video. If you notice today, the wind seems pretty calm around here, but here in the south, probably the last 4 or 5 days, it's been pretty rough. If I'd have tried to record yesterday, all you would have heard was wind noise. So hopefully it'll cooperate with us today, but I'll spin you around and show you what we got so far. So the tank's back in. I went ahead while I had it out and I repaired the gasket for the sending unit right there at the top. It had an old cork gasket that was in like 3 or 4 pieces. I patched that back up the right way and just coated it in red RTV, so we'll see how that holds up. Then also, this tractor has its original wiring harness, but I guess over the years there's been a lot of field fixes done, and individual strands of wire ran everywhere back and across it. It actually doesn't have a key switch on it anymore. It's a toggle switch and a push button, and those wires that were on there were all corroded, about to fall off, so I replaced those and got all that routed a better way than they had it before. Then I also had to replace the wire going to the hot side of the coil. It actually was twisted around the sediment bowl on the bottom of the tank, so when I pulled it out the other night, it ended up ripping the ends off of it. So I guess they were using that to try to hold the wire up off of the exhaust manifold, but that's been replaced now. Go ahead here in just a second, we'll throw some fuel in it and see if we can get her to fire off and maybe take it for a quick spin. All right, we'll throw a little bit of fuel in her. If you saw my video the other day, where I gave an update, is I pulled the sediment bowl off the bottom of the car. There's a bunch of blue plastic jammed up in like the outlet of the tank, the inlet to that sediment bowl. I actually took a look at my funnel, and there were actually pieces broken off it. I guess from sitting out in the weather, it started to dry rot. Pieces of it had flaked off, so I bought us a new yellow funnel. We use that now, try to keep the trash out of the tank. Throw a little bit of fuel in her here. Try not to do like that, pour it everywhere. There we go. Tell I filled it up the right way because more of the tank gas made it over the top of the tank and on the ground than actually in it. So try to wipe some of this off, clean up a little bit here. All right. We'll spin y'all around here. Try to get it fired up.
So there you have it, guys. Spark plug replacement, basic tune-up on a late 60s Massey 135. Tractor seems to be running really well right now. Weren't having the issue with it wanting to lean out when you put a load on it, like pulling heavy on the landscape rake and things like that. Obviously, when you dig a bunch of pieces of a funnel out of the outlet of the fuel tank, it'll make a big difference in fuel flow. Who would have thought? But now that we got all that fixed, I'm fixing to jump out here and try to get some work done on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Get the yard leveled off and things like that. See if we can get some work out of the old girl. But I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks.